I'm back. Hi. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about why it's important to have a strong sense of identity. In the first video I said something about how we all know that person who we say is fake, and sometimes that person has been us, right? And one of the reasons why people present themselves in a way that is not who they are is, one, they don't even know who they are. They don't. So they think that they have to be like the people around them. And if you read the scriptures, it was the same thing that God's people used to do. So the Israelites would look at the pagan nations around them and they would want to be like them. They wanted to have kings like they did. They wanted to, be free to do whatever they wanted. They felt like God was restricting them too much. So they wanted to, worship the pagan gods and indulge in all the immoralities like, the pagans around them. But they didn't understand that they were a chosen people. And so many times when people show up inauthentically, it's because they don't know who they are. Sometimes it's not like they're deliberately trying to deceive you, it's just that they don't know who they are. So when they're with this group of people, they they shape shift, and then they go to another group. So there's nobody that really knows who they are. So with this group they are like green, that group they are red, the other group they are yellow. Anywhere they find themselves they blend. Everybody likes them, but you just get this sense that this person lacks substance. There's something about this person that is just not real. And people like that struggle to have meaningful relationships because you like them, they are nice, but I'm not sure about this person. I'm not sure, you know, that this person is genuine, right? And so, why is it important to have a strong sense of identity? It helps you appreciate your uniqueness, right? It helps you appreciate your uniqueness. And because you understand that being different is not necessarily a bad thing, it helps you stay focused, especially if you're young. As teenagers, as young people, there's a lot of pressure to conform. And guess what? I remember when I used to teach in in the school setting, I used to tell my students, don't think that this peer pressure thing ends here. Because some of them will say, oh, I did that because such and such made me do it. And I would say to them, so if they ask you to slap your father, you will slap Abby. And usually they are shocked. Oh, I say, but yeah, you did it because somehow there's something in you that wants to do it. And you need to understand that peer pressure doesn't end. So even as adults, you're being pressured. You look around you, you see the people who are doing well, and you're not quite there. And so if you're not grounded in who you know yourself to be, you will just be trying to keep up with the Joneses. And I can't tell you the amount of pressure that that puts on us. You will put your kids in schools that because of other people. It's not what you want, but because you want to keep up a certain standard, you will buy things that you don't need. I have a cousin who says, I don't know where he heard it from, but he would say you buy things you don't need with money you can't afford to impress people you don't like. And that's just at times it seems that that's what the rat race is about. Because why are you doing it? You just want to keep up so that you get invited to certain places, you get invited to certain parties, you hang out with certain people, and deep down you don't even like them, but then you're hanging out with them. you know but if you know who you are, it helps you appreciate your uniqueness, that there's nothing wrong with you. You being different doesn't mean there's something wrong. And it makes it easy for you not to be intimidated by who another person is. You're not in competition with them. Like I said earlier, you're on your path and they are on their path, so it doesn't intimidate you. Secondly, it helps you know your flaws because of the way most of us were raised and the way we're raising our children. We make our children feel like if they make a mistake, there's something wrong with them. So we punish mistakes so harshly. And because of that, our children grow up thinking that they must never be wrong. So what that does, it makes it difficult for them to accept that they are flawed, that they have weaknesses, and that it's not a bad thing as long as they are working on it. It makes it difficult for them to be to take to accept responsibility when they've done something wrong. It makes it difficult for them to apologize when they've done something wrong. And for many of us, that's how we're raised. So we hide. You don't want people to see that you're struggling with something, so you pretend that this is who you are. And that puts tremendous amount of pressure on you, and it doesn't allow you to walk on the floor. So 5 years, 10 years, you're still the same person. You haven't grown. You're not impacting anybody. You're using all your energy to hide those flaws because you think that you should be perfect rather than authentic. And if you're paying attention, you understand that people are drawn to authentic people, not perfect people. Because we all know that there's no such thing as a perfect person. So sometimes when you meet somebody who is too good, there's a way that they irritate you. There's a way that they irritate you, and sometimes that is who we've been. So it's important to understand that we all have flaws, and God knows that we have flaws. He made us, He knows that we're weak, He knows that we're frail, and He's just waiting for us to say, God, help me with this, flaw. Maybe you talk too much, and then in the process, because when you are talking too much, you will say what you're not supposed to say. Maybe that is your own problem. Instead of pretending that it's not a problem, or I say my mind, because you can then do that to act like it doesn't matter. But then you've hurt people with the things that you've said. So instead of doing that, you can go to God and say, God, I talk too much, I gossip too much, I don't even know when these things come out of my mouth. Help me, right? If you're maybe someone that you're envious, you hear good news about somebody, and then immediately your stomach just starts to turn. You find it's like, oh God, why is it them? Why is it not me? Go to God. Go to God. Envy is a real problem, and some people don't even know that they're envious. So if you find yourself feeling a little uncomfortable every time you hear about something good happening to people, especially people close to you, you're probably suffering from the green eyed demon, envy. Go to God and say, Lord, I find it hard to rejoice with people. Take this thing out of my heart. So when you know who you are, it's not just the good things about you, it's also because God is perfect. So as God wants us to be like Him, He knows that we have flaws. So those flaws, He expects that we will come to Him and He will help us. Another reason it's important to know your identity, it helps you identify your skills, your talents. Do you know that I was well into my adult years before I started to understand that there were certain things that I could do and other people could not do? Growing up, I didn't, like, I mean, if you ask the average adolescent today, they know their strengths, they know their weaknesses, they know what they can do, they know what they are good at. They may struggle to admit their flaws because they are more about, hey, I'm good, I can do this, I can do that. They don't like to admit their flaws as much, I'm speaking generally. Um, but for us growing up, even the things we could do, many of us, we didn't even have a name for it. So you couldn't even articulate your skills, you couldn't articulate your talents. Somebody would say, do you know you're good at this? And you just shove it because many of us were raised not to pay attention to the good parts of us. It's like you're proud. And so we tended to diminish the gifts that God gave us. Knowing your identity helps you appreciate that, look, I'm gifted here. And it's not pride. I know how to sing. It's not a proud thing to say. If you can sing, you can sing. Do you get? It's something to own. If you're beautiful, you're beautiful. It's something to own. There's nothing, to be ashamed of. And somebody says, oh, you're looking so good today. Really? Or you say, or you just, you wave it because you don't want to accept that God made you special. God made you a speck. And so you diminish, you just wave it aside because let it not be that you're proud. If you're fine, you're fine, right? If you're gifted, you're gifted. If God has blessed you with money, He has blessed you with money. No need to, I'm not saying throw it in people's faces because again, there's this thing about, so it's about the balance. It's about the balance. So you will know um, your uniqueness, you will know your flaws to correct them, you will know your gifts to use them for God's glory. And then it helps you remain stable. So when you know your identity, you're stabilized, you're not moved. You don't hear that, oh, this is what they are wearing here, and then they are looking for money to go and buy. Oh, this is what they are doing here. This is what they are driving now. You want, even when you can't afford. There's a story that comes to my mind, but I won't share it. Somebody, okay, no, I won't share it. But people can go to extremes. Somebody buys a car, you can't afford it. You go and buy a car, and then you start struggling with the car. People do these things just because you want to show that, okay, me too, I'm there. But when you know who you are, when you've accepted your identity in God, you're not moved by, they can be buying whatever they are buying, they can be traveling anywhere they are traveling, they can be going to the schools that they are going to. If it's not yours, if you don't have it, you're not bothered. It doesn't mean you don't desire it, but it doesn't give you sleepless nights. And what that does is it takes away confusion because you become focused. This is where you are going. So even when they say it's happening there, okay, good for you guys, have fun, but this is where I'm going. It's happening there, oh, great, but this is where I'm going. So it keeps you focused, it takes away confusion, it helps you remain grounded. So if you find yourself today, you are here, tomorrow you are there, you are jumping because you're trying to pursue this and pursue that, it's very likely that you don't know your identity. And so God is calling you to come back into his word. So if you're just joining with this video, I would encourage you to go back and watch the very first video because it will help you understand um, where we're coming from. Okay, so I hope you have found this very helpful. Like I said, if you've got teenagers, share with them, but watch it yourself. Share with your friends. There's a lot of pressure that you'll be taking off yourself if you can just remain grounded in who God says you are. All right. So our next video, I'm going to be talking about what hinders you from knowing yourself. So if you struggle with knowing who you are, what's the reason for that? So that's what I'm going to be talking about in the next video. All right, so I hope you found this useful. So again, please share with your friends, subscribe if you haven't, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much, and do share with your own friends. See you in the next video.